This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Donaldson versus Jones. Mr. and Mrs. Donaldson, it's my understanding from the documents that you all filed with this court that you are suing Mr. Jones for very intimate injuries that you received at his batting cage, and you're asking this court to award you $30,000 for past medicals, $130,000 for future medicals, $690,000 for pain and suffering, and $150,000 for loss of consortium, for a total award of $1 million. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Jones, you're saying you provide a batting cage. This is his fault.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, well, I understand where you stand. Now let's get into the legal sauce. Y'all went to the batting cage. Is batting part of your life?
We have two little boys who just love baseball as much as we do.
How old are you boys?
11. JJ's 11. Gregory is 6.
Oh, it takes me back. I got 3. They're a bit older than yours.
Yeah,
They're grown men
yeah.
with hair on their face now. Now, you took your family to the batting cage this day, right?
JJ, yes, he can hit a fastball, 60-mile-an-hour fastball. He can crank it down.
You ever get out there and swing yourself? Show them how mama can do it?
I played softball when I was in college, so that's kind of what bonded us together. But my 11-year-old, he's just got such a passion for it.
It's a family thing. We like to bond as a family.
You look like you're an athlete. Did you play some baseball?
I did actually, sir. That's actually one of my fondest childhood memories is playing baseball with my father and grandfather, which led me to opening Pete's Perfect Game.
Mr. Jones, tell me about your batting cage. How long you been doing this?
We've been open for a little over 3.5 years now.
Okay.
We have an impeccable safety record.
Excuse me?
What did you intend for families to have when they come to your batting cage?
Ultimate fun. It's safe fun.
There is no safety
Okay, and so,
if my husband
so if
is
it works
suffering.
out, we'll talk about that. We got a little time. We're going to talk about that. Take me to the day that this happened. What happened?
It was a great day. I mean, we did a few rounds. I even got in there to try to hit a few. He definitely showed me up.
Then what happened?
I was just watching him. I got a phone call, and it was an urgent call. I needed to take the call, so I decided to walk.
Must be pretty important to turn away from your boy.
Yeah, we've been there a little bit. It's a coworker, so I definitely needed to take the phone call. So there was an alleyway next to the batting cages. There was nobody else in the facility.
A gated alleyway.
Now, this alleyway, what's this alleyway for? What's
Primarily for maintenance, sir.
Okay.
For maintenance, employees will make it through to maintain the
There was
nets.
no signs. It was an open alleyway, open gate, no signs posted.
Okay.
To me, I assumed it was another observation area to watch.
So then what do? You get to the alleyway, then what happens?
I'm watching. I'm still analyzing my son's swing. I'm still coaching.
You're keeping an eye on your son.
I'm still zoned in on him.
Okay.
Correct, yeah. And then before I know it, the ball comes through the net, hits me right in my family jewels.
So, Mr. Donaldson, describe what happened and how your injury happened.
So my left testicle ruptured.
Okay.
It basically feels like the pain is just coming from my belly button down, and it is a constant pain.
Okay, Mr. Jones, were you there?
Yes, sir.
Did you see this?
I was on site. I did not see the incident take place, but I was on site. We have an impeccable safety record. We
All right.
had 0
So this must have
incidents.
shocked you, too.
Oh, it
One
did.
incident.
Oh, it did.
So then what did you do?
Yes, I got there. The paramedic beat me there first. We have one on staff. She generally tends to scrapes by passing out
You have a
Band-Aids.
paramedic on staff?
Yes, sir.
To have a paramedic on staff at a batting cage is a big deal. Wouldn't you all agree with that?
Yeah.
So is he
I've never been the one with a head
To
medical
me, he's
staff.
anticipating something happening.
bad happening.
Safety first.
Wait. You think a paramedic being there is
It's anticipation for something
But that's
bad
a good
happening.
thing, though, right, Miss Donaldson?
Sometimes overly cautious is not a good thing. If you have a reason to be that cautious,
See, but
there's something wrong.
here's the thing. Here, I need to give you a short legal lesson. When there is a business owner who's taking precautions in case something bad happens, that's kudos. That's a good thing. Mr. Jones, the paramedic
Yes, sir.
comes down. Then what happens?
She called 911. She wanted to make sure that he was being taken care of.
Were you concerned?
I was very concerned.
He was in a lot of pain, huh?
He was bleeding.
Okay.
He was bleeding in the facility. It was
Because
pretty
your
bad.
facility is faulty.
Ma'am, it would make no sense for me to argue with this woman.
Well,
She continues
that's not
to
why we're here.
yell
You're
at
going
me.
to talk to me. Today is about getting me to understand this. Now, Mr. Donaldson, you submitted a diagram,
Yeah, we have a
to this
diagram.
court. Could you come over to the plasma
Yes,
and
Your
show
Honor.
me exactly how this happened? Take your time. Okay, now, when you got there and you're watching your son, where are you?
So we started here in batting cage 4. I'm in this observation area here.
Okay.
I got the phone call. As you can see, there's a an alleyway right here next to the batting cages. There was nobody in any of these batting cages.
Okay, hold on for a minute, Mr. Donaldson. Mr. Jones, that area there where the X is, and
sir.
That's the alleyway, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the purpose for that?
For maintenance.
Okay,
Literally,
so no one but maintenance people should go in there.
only employees.
There's nothing posted.
Now, Mr. Donaldson, you see that swing? Is that a gate or a door? What is that?
It was an open gate, and that's exactly how it was.
So the gate was open.
Wide open, even more open than it shows in this diagram. It was wide open.
Okay, so you're in the observation area. Take me through all the way until your son's ball hits you below the belt.
I walked down this way. I came down here, and I was observing from the angle, from a good angle, just to see him swing. That way,
And you're on the phone?
Yeah, I didn't want to distract him. Yeah, I didn't want to distract him from
While
hitting the
you were
ball.
distracted.
And then before I know it, the ball comes out of nowhere and just hits me right in my family jewels.
Your Honor, had he been paying attention to begin with and not wandering off into areas while being on the cell phone, none of this would have happened.
What difference does it make? Your facility should be safe from any angle.
Your child hit the ball that hit your husband.
He's 11 years old. He can't hit a ball.
Well,
He
Mr.
shouldn't
Jones.
be able to break
Mr.
your
Jones.
safety net.
Order in this courtroom. Y'all direct your comments to me. I need to figure this out. Mr. Donaldson, thank you. You may go back to your podium. Take your time. Thank you for going over there for me. So, Mr. Jones, how does this kind of thing happen? If it's not supposed to happen, how's it happen?
Your Honor, it just doesn't happen. In over 3 years that we've been in business, we have had an impeccable safety record. My general manager here, Mr. Stewart, is just the best in the business at maintaining nets and baseball facilities.
Clearly
we
not.
keep a perfect service log.
You have something you brought?
Yes, sir.
Sheriff, would you get that for me?
Thank you, thank you.
Now, this document is your safety log?
Yes, sir.
It says family maintenance checklist.
Yes, sir.
And then batting cages. Netting is free of holes and tears. That's a safety issue, right?
Yes, sir.
And it has an X under no. What's that mean?
The X under no meaning that our facilities manager noticed that there was a tear in the net that Friday.
Okay,
Day
so-
before the incident.
So then it goes to made simple fix to cage number 4. And so you didn't fix this net, right?
No, sir.
But Mr. Donaldson, when you went over there, you're on the phone and you're looking at your son. Did you see anything wrong with the net?
You could tell there was duct tape in certain areas of the netting. You could tell.
And were y'all using tape for the nets?
Yes, sir. It's an industry standard.
So did you tape the net or one of your employees did?
No, sir. Our facilities manager.
Mr. Stewart, stand on up. Let me hear from you. For the record, what is your full name?
Harvey Stewart, Your Honor.
Okay, and what do you do at Mr. Jones's batting cage?
I'm the general manager, and I inspect everything that we have in the facility.
Impeccably.
So how did you repair this net?
Well, we brought a piece, and I can show you that today, Your Honor.
Okay, that would be good.
This is like a piece of the net that has a hole in it.
Show me what you did for the hole that's at issue here.
They take this industrial strength tape, and then it holds. This is a ball will not go through that.
Now, I see some other pieces of that fluorescent tape. Are those places that it was repaired?
Yes, sir.
Now that tape's gonna stop a ball coming 70 miles an hour?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir. The structure is still sound.
But look at how hard he's hitting the ball. It's coming at him fast. Watch this swing.
We've never had this issue.
This was
Your
a
Honor.
freaky accident. We've never had an incident like this
And
before.
again,
ever.
had
But
Mr.
y'all putting a
Donaldson-
lot of tape on that net though, right?
Yes, sir.
They are.
Is that normal
Kids
course?
are great at
This
it.
is. The tape did not fail.
Well, how'd the ball get through?
Ball didn't get on the other side of the net by magic.
If he had not gone into the alleyway, we would not be here today.
He was
Right?
in a place he shouldn't have been. He wasn't in the
And
tape.
so, Mr.
Donaldson,
There's a
It
clearly
doesn't
marked
matter.
observation area.
Order in this court. If y'all talk all at the same time, I can't hear you. I'm not that good. If you're going to rely on signs and you say this is the proper area, wouldn't you also say this is not the proper area?
Well, most people don't wander into gated areas.
They
And
still-
Well, he
facilities
said the
don't-
gate was open. Is
Still
that
not
gate
answering the question.
Mr. Donaldson, the gate was open, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that gate supposed to be open, Mr.
No,
Jones?
sir.
I need to understand the full extent of your injury, so this court has consulted a urologist, Dr. Michael Witt. So, Sheriff, will you get Dr. Witt?
Yes, Your Honor.
Come on in, Doctor. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
For the record, Doctor, state your name.
Michael Witt.
And can you explain what actually happens when a testicle is ruptured?
If you have enough blunt force to the testicle, there'll be a lot of pain. This sort of thick outer layer here can actually rupture and fracture. But you can also get parts of the testicle that sometimes can sort of poke out from there.
Are you ever put in a position where you've got to decide whether to get rid of the testicle?
There's kind of two times when you might actually have to remove this. One is if you get in there and the testicle is so shattered that you just can't put it back together. Or if there's been damage to the blood flow here so that none of the tissue is alive.
And Doc, you said pain. Is it pain on walking? Is it pain on coughing? When is that pain present?
Well, immediately during the injury, constantly. And it's a pretty deep pain. Not only will you experience it locally, but it'll sort of extend up into the abdomen and sometimes sort of to the other side.
In this case, Mr. Donaldson actually ruptured his testicle. What's that look like for him from this point on?
Well, if the testicle was removed, all right, typically that won't have any negative impact, on his ability to father children in the future.
Okay.
Or if there's sort of an alteration in body image, then that can cause them to be somewhat hesitant, to engage sexually or be intimate.
Dr. Witt, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. You are relieved. So, Ms. Donaldson, let me understand this. You are asking this court to award you $150,000 for loss of consortium. Under the law, consortium is how this injury affects the family, how it affects your intimate relationship. Mrs. Donaldson, how has this affected your relationship with your husband?
We'd always planned on having at least 3 kids, and for the last 6 months or so, we've been trying, and it's not happening. He won't let me near him. Our intimacy is all but gone. We're a very, very close couple, and it's not all about the money, but it's about how our life has been affected and how it will remain affected.
This has been pretty heavy for you, Ms. Donaldson?
It's been hard. Yeah, it has been hard.
It could be her mouth.
Yeah.
Well, first
Excuse
of all,
me.
that's totally inappropriate.
Thank you.
This man had one of his testicles destroyed at your place, and you want to make jokes. We're not having it today.
That's his character.
We are not having
That's
it
his
today.
character.
I apologize.
If you expect me to have a clean view of what's responsible here, you got to calm down. The sarcasm does not have...
I apologize to the court, Your Honor.
Now, Mr. Donaldson, how do you describe how this affected your relationship with your wife?
Yeah,
as best you can.
I've sought counseling myself. I've been depressed. I don't do the things I used to do with my boys anymore. We used to go in the backyard and play all the time. I can't run. I can't move around. I can't pitch to them anymore.
Because it hurts or you're worried?
It hurts. It's a constant dull pain that just never goes away. I can't sleep at night. I have to sleep in one position always, sitting, walking, driving a car, anything that involves movement.
Everything.
I can't do it. So.
And someone was hurt. You don't have any doubt that he suffered a real injury?
Yeah, not at all. As a man, I certainly feel his pain.
But you say y'all would have never met today if he hadn't been in that area?
Correct. Never. Never would have been here today had he not wandered into an area
Or had
that
he
was
posted
clearly...
an employees only sign, I would not have wandered in there.
Okay, folks, I think I've heard enough. I'm ready to render my decision. In every personal injury case, the plaintiff, you all, Mr. and Mrs. Donaldson, you have to prove that Mr. Jones committed wrong and that his wrong caused your injury. It is undisputed that you have a very serious personal injury. It doesn't get any more personal than this, okay? And you are asking this court to award you $1 million. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. and Mrs. Donaldson, as the law requires you, you all have proven a wrong. That is, Mr. Jones's net did not do what it was supposed to do, and that was to protect you from this ball coming through. You've proven that that ball coming through and hitting you caused severe injury. There's no doubt that it was the result of this and that your family has suffered. I understand why you filed this lawsuit. And Mr. Jones, you say that this net was working properly and that if he had been in the right spot, this would have never happened, and thus this is not your fault and he should be awarded nothing against you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, here, the law requires me to look at the whole picture. This is not supposed to happen. Safety nets are for safety and they are not supposed to fail. I think you all have proven wrong. I think you have proven that Mr. Jones is wrong and that his wrong in not properly repairing this net caused your very severe injuries. I am going to award you $30,000 for past medicals, $130,000 for future medicals, $690,000 for your terrible pain and suffering, and $150,000 for loss of consortium, the injury to this family, for a total of $1 million. I find in your favor, Mr. and Mrs. Donaldson, and against you, Mr. Jones. That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned. Mr. and Mrs. Richardson, it's my understanding that you all are suing Mr. Hickman for injuries, severe shoulder injury that you sustained when you slipped on peanuts at his restaurant. You're asking this court to award you $125,000 for medical expenses, $200,000 for pain and suffering, and a total award of $325,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Hickman, you believe she slipped on peanuts that were there. She should have known they were there, and it's not your fault, right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right, well, let's get into the legal sauce. Why did y'all choose this restaurant?
Well, Your Honor, I retired after 30 years in the school system.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So 30 years, thank you. So after 30 years being with children, I was finally glad to be over with the school system, so I decided to have a retirement party. I was going to invite some friends and family and co-workers to this place, and I chose this restaurant because it was a little on the casual side, and some of my friends are not very upscale. You know, they like a little casual atmosphere.
Now, folks have different kinds of retirement parties. In fact, the sheriffs that used to take care of me many years ago, when these older gentlemen and women would have a party, some of them would have the fun party, some of them would have the formal sit-down.
Right.
Which one was yours? Was it fun or formal?
Mine was a fun party because I had some diversified friends, so I figured, let's go to this restaurant. I heard the food was great, but when I walked in and looked at it, you know, there was a few peanut shells. I just thought they didn't sweep up that day.
So peanut shells on the floor, Mr. Hickman, is that what happens at your place?
Yeah, it's a staple of our place. It's part of the fun atmosphere that we have. It's you know, my restaurant, and my dad gave it to me. In 16 years, we've always had peanut shells on the ground. It's just a fun thing where the patrons eat the peanuts and then throw the shells.
So they eat the peanuts and then they throw them on the floor. Now,
Correct.
What happens with the shells?
The shells are just on the ground and we walk on them, but it's just part of the country theme.
So it's part of the shtick of your restaurant.
Correct.
And I imagine it's pretty popular. That's kind of novel.
People come just for that. And I also have 790 positive reviews you can see here.
Sheriff Matt, if you'll get those reviews for me.
790
I want to take a peek at them.
reviews, I'm proud to say.
Let's see what the folks...
All ages.
What the folks say here. Well, you got one here that says, only house where throwing stuff on the floor won't get you grounded. Then another one says, be a boss, crack, eat, toss. Sounds like a fun place.
What we do.
And then the final one says, real cowboys drop their nuts on the floor. I'm gonna stop reading these right now, okay? But you got a fun place. People come there to have fun.
Absolutely, it's a packed crowd every night of the week.
And part of the fun is throwing these nuts on the floor, drinking beer, just kind of real laid back.
A great time. It adds to the country atmosphere.
And that's what you all had anticipated the retirement party would be, right?
Well, I didn't anticipate it to be that much peanuts on the floor. When I went to tour the place, it was only a few shells on the floor.
So you didn't know that people throw shells on the floor?
I did not.
Look at this. This is the shot of the floor in the restaurant.
At my party, right. That wasn't like that the day I went on a tour.
Well, y'all must have had either a lot of elephants or a lot of people that like peanuts.
It was a lot of peanuts.
That's a lot of peanuts. So tell me how you got injured.
So
That's not true.
We're having fun, we're drinking, we're eating, and I didn't know that the restaurant was known for the nuts. I thought it was known for the food. So we're eating, having a good time, we're laughing and drinking. So one of his waitresses walks over to me and said, well, you're retired. Why don't you start a conga line? You know, I'm a party person.
love them.
I like to dance, which, as you can see there, I'm a dancer. So I love dancing. I had no problem with dancing, so I got up.
Now, those can get pretty rowdy, right?
Yes, as soon as I stepped on the floor.
Depending on how much beer you've had, you know?
Well, I didn't have any beer.
Okay.
So as soon as I stepped on the floor, bam. I mean, I fell and bust my behind. I started screaming, crying. I felt my leg was broken, my hip, I couldn't move. My husband's trying to comfort me, and I'm like, get off me. I mean, I'm just hysterical because I'm embarrassed, first of all.
So you saw this, Mr. Richardson?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I'm embarrassed, I'm in pain. The only thing I didn't hit was my head, which I'm glad.
So, Mr. Hickman, this conga line, your waitresses and waiters having a good time with the patrons. Is that what you expect them to do?
Yeah, I mean, they come around, and if people are having a good time, they tell them to get up and get in the conga line. It's just part of our fun atmosphere.
So you've seen conga lines in your place before?
Absolutely, and we've never had an incident.
How'd you know that Miss Richardson was hurt?
Well, I was working the register, and I heard this shrieking scream. I turned around, and my waitress was running over to her. I saw that it was her on the ground, and I called 911 as soon as I could to get her help.
Did you know how she got down there to the floor?
No, I just heard a scream, and we just wanted to help her.
You should have came over to me. You're the owner.
I was on the phone with 911. So I had to talk to them for a while, so I couldn't run over and be your aide because I'm on the phone with your help.
Everybody has a cell phone.
I have a heart.
Miss Richardson,
you could have came to me.
Address your comments to me. Let me get to this thing. I know this is important to you.
I'm just
You all rigged up there. I understand.
Peanuts are a staple of our restaurant, okay? People go nuts for our nuts. That's our slogan.
You see shells all over the floor. The conga line starts, and that's when disaster begins.
And not only did I fall, when I fell, I'm down on the floor, and I see not only are there shells on the floor, there's nuts down there, too.
Okay.
Do you know what peanut oil can do to the floor? It makes things very greasy.
That's what you came for.
I didn't come for nuts. I came for the food.
Mr. Hickman, how is it that peanuts get on the floor? Aren't people supposed to eat the meat and throw the shells on the floor?
That's correct.
Okay,
yeah.
is
so
there...
the shells are on the ground, not the peanuts.
Peanuts on the ground.
The peanuts being on the floor creates at least a different picture, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes, but usually it's shells, it's not peanuts. So it's not that much oil.
Somebody comes into your restaurant, they fall, they get hurt. How's that not your fault? It's your place. Your nuts, your shells.
She knew the risks before coming there. She toured the place and said she wanted to book it there.
But it wasn't that many nuts
So
on
she
the
was
floor.
satisfied. I thought, great, another happy customer. She even remarked, Your Honor, when she came and toured the restaurant, she remarked how much she loved the place and how much her friends...
This is before the party.
Correct, and how much her friends were going to love it too.
Right,
well, do you remember that?
Yes.
Did the floor look like that?
No.
She came during lunch. It wasn't as bad as that.
No.
Okay.
See,
There were shells, discarded shells on the ground.
Had I known it was going to be like that, I would have worn different shoes.
What? People go nuts for our nuts? What did you think that meant?
Well,
That they just like nuts.
Miss Richardson.
They like crazy people. I knew they
Who
were.
wears open-toed shoes? Why not flats?
Mr. Hickman.
It didn't match my outfit. Come on.
Order in this court.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Order in this court.
Sorry, Your Honor.
You guys got to talk to me.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
If you want her to make the decision, keep talking to her. I got to figure this out.
Okay.
Okay?
Sorry, Your Honor.
So you slip.
Right, I slipped
And
on
you hit
some
the
nuts.
floor. When did
Broke
you
my
know
hip.
that your shoulder was badly hurt?
Not only my shoulder, I have a broken hip. So my whole life has changed. I retired after 30 years. My husband and I have plans.
So you hurt your hip?
I have a broken hip.
You hurt your shoulder?
My shoulder, my knee.
Your
the only thing
knee?
that didn't hurt was my head.
And you got $125,000 in past medical expenses.
Yes, because my husband has to take me to physical therapy every other day. I'm retired. I was supposed to travel.
Yes, ma'am.
We have no quality of life anymore.
I see from your medicals that you tore your rotator cuff.
Yes.
Okay, how's that been?
It's not good. As you can see, as from my pictures, I was a traveler. I ride
Is
elephants.
that you on an
That's
elephant?
me on an elephant, yes.
Okay.
Which I can't do anymore. I ride elephants, I skate, I dance, I do all of these things, which my
You're very
quality
active.
of life is no longer. I'm depressed. I mean, I stay in the bed. He has to help me get dressed in the morning.
I see that you're asking this court for $200,000 for pain and suffering. Tell me about that.
Well, because I can no longer do the things I enjoy, I don't take care of my family anymore. I can't cook, I can't clean, I can barely dress.
How do you fix your hair?
My husband, it's a wig. He know how to put a wig on now. He's learned. Okay?
So, Mr. Richardson, you've been standing in the gap for your wife, right?
There ain't no question, Your Honor.
Tell me how this has affected you all's relationship.
My wife is depressed. She's not happy anymore. She was an outgoing person before. She used to like to travel. She used to like to go places and do things. She doesn't like to do that anymore. It's hard for her to get in the bed. It's hard for her to get out the bed.
Mr. Hickman, you see this is a big deal, right?
It's unfortunate that we're here under these circumstances and that you injured yourself, and I am sorry for that. But, you know...
Are you really sorry?
That's the first time he's ever said that, too.
Is it?
Yes.
How long have you owned this place?
16 years, Your Honor.
Did anyone ever tell you that they didn't go crazy for your nuts?
I did.
No. It's not my fault, okay? Her party was the main party eating the peanuts and throwing them on the ground.
No, we were not.
So clearly that's not
there are other people.
Yes, we were not.
There are other people.
You were.
No, we weren't.
We actually had
Order in
to
this
call me-
court.
We were
Now,
not,
I've
Your
said it one other time that you ought to address me. Mr. Richardson, did you see anybody in your party throwing shells on the floor? You had to.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right?
I did.
Everybody was throwing shells on the floor.
All of your entire party, their entire party were joining in the Atmosphere Fun with the peanuts.
Because that's
eating them,
part of the
throwing-
good time.
That's what we do.
But it was just,
Right?
if it was just the shells, Your Honor, then it would be a different story. But there were peanuts. When I hit the ground, there were peanuts on the ground also.
I brought an exhibit to show you today.
All right. Go on over and
And
show
Your Honor,
me.
before he does that, they should have receptacles for the nuts to go into.
But then it wouldn't be the same place. It would be a YMCA.
Your Honor, I'm stepping on these peanuts and you can see how slippery it is. And it's not necessarily so much the peanut
Now
shell.
step on those nuts again. I want to see that. And you did that well. And you did submit a video
I
for the
submitted
court.
a video for you to let you know that about 5 minutes time how much oil is left over from these peanut shells and peanuts on the floor.
Okay, let's take a peek at it.
So if I take this shoe and I crush these shells, I'm going to give it about 5 minutes, and you'll see that this paper will be soaking wet with oil just from the residue and the peanuts. It's been 5 minutes, Your Honor. As you can see, this floor
Look at
is
it.
oily from the residue and the peanuts. They're responsible for this. This is what caused my wife to fall. This is what caused her to hurt herself.
So, Mr. Hickman, you see all that oil on that butcher paper?
I do.
That could make somebody slip, though, huh?
It could,
Yes.
but but with the material on the floor, it doesn't make it that slippery.
There have been conga lines before at your place,
Every night, yes.
and people just go all around snaking around the restaurant.
And she was actually being loud and disorderly, and we
I
had to
was
calm
not
her
loud,
down.
disorderly.
She was
I
being loud and
laughing.
disorderly.
She was dancing on the peanut shells, and,
Put a little
and we had
rhythm
to
in it
keep
if
the
you know the-
walkway clear,
put a little
so we
rhythm.
had a server come over and tell her, and she goes, I'm the one paying for the party.
I was.
So, Miss Richardson,
Well,
I was paying for the party, and now he's going to pay for what has happened to me. This injury, I mean,
do you have to wear that brace
Yes.
all the time?
Yes, I do.
What happens when you go to sleep at night?
I sleep like this. So can you imagine? I kick him out the bed because we have a king-size bed. He has to sleep in the guest room. He can't enjoy me anymore. I mean, my life is over with him. But thank God he's a good man. He takes care of me.
He
has
seems like
eight-
a good man.
He is. He is.
Now, Mr. Richardson, you heard Mr. Hickman talk about how she was up dancing, having a good time. She was dancing, having a good time, right?
She was supposed to be dancing and having a good
After
time.
30 years?
It's not right. It wasn't, like I said, again, it was the oil
She was
from all
wearing
those peanuts
high heels,
on the floor
Your Honor.
that caused
She was
her to
wearing
slip.
open-toed high heels.
If water was
And
spilled
she
on
wore
the floor...
high heels and open-toed shoes.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
To a country theme bar. Maybe something a little more appropriate.
Because it
Flats or, say,
matched my
boots.
outfit. It matched my outfit, I'm sorry.
Somebody's gonna go to jail today.
Nope.
Address your comments to me. Y'all are making me nuts. Mr. Hickman, you mentioned that she was wearing high-heeled shoes. Don't many people come in? I mean, women wear high-heeled shoes, right?
Yes.
And they probably have done it, and everything's fine. So when she wears these, apparently these aren't appropriate for her. But, you know, she wasn't even worried about the nuts because she was dancing on top of the nuts.
Now, Miss Richardson, your husband crushed those shells on the video with a high-heeled shoe. Is that the kind of shoe you had
Yes,
on?
It's almost the same shoe, except those were my black ones, which I
Okay.
can no longer wear anymore. All of my heels I cannot wear
Because of
anymore.
your hip injury?
Yes. I have to wear little flat shoes now.
I think I've heard enough. I think I'm ready to render my decision. Folks, in every personal injury case, the plaintiff, that is you all, the Richardsons, you have to prove that the defendant committed a wrong, that Mr. Hickman committed a wrong, that his wrong caused your injuries. You have proven today that there were peanuts on the floor, that there was oil on that floor, that there were shells on that floor, and that a waitress allowed you to, or encouraged you to come and do a conga line. You did the conga line, you slipped and fell, and had a terrible retirement experience.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hickman, you run a restaurant that people throw peanuts and shells on the floor. She should have known this. That's why she booked the place, because of that shtick. This had never happened to you before. And frankly, you've been making the point that it's obvious. People are here for our nuts.
People go nuts for our nuts, Your Honor.
Under the law, I've got to consider everybody's responsibility. But here's the problem. Your waitress started a conga line, and that's what tips the scales. Here, I find that you are partially responsible for your injuries, but I'm going to find in your favor only because your waitress was involved. Mrs. Richardson, I find that you are 49% responsible for your injuries. You are suing for $325,000. 51% of that is $165,750. I'm making that award and that amount to you, taking into account your partial responsibilities for your injuries. I find in your favor in the amount of $165,750. That is my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.
Thank you, Your Honor.